I put one thing on my website today, which I think is really good. It's a plaque that the Bar Association erected here in Virginia explaining the common law, explaining why the common law is so important upon this land and how the common law protects the liberties of the individuals against the Crown, against the Bar Association. That when an individual goes up against the Crown or the Bar Association, man could always, well, it says individual, the individual could always rely upon the common law to put the Crown or put the Bar in its place. And this plaque was erected in Virginia here, and it says right underneath there, this plaque is dedicated or erected here at this Jamestown Colony site by the Bar Association of Virginia in 1959. So the Bar Association does recognize the existence of the common law. It does recognize that the common law is man's right to protect itself from Crown, which Crown means the Bar Association. When you go against the Crown in Canada, or you're going against the Crown in England, you're going against the Bar Association. You're going against the legal, the codes. You're going against the statutes. You're not going after the Queen of England because there is no Queen of Canada. There is no Queen of Australia. There is no Queen of the Philippines. So when you use going Crown, it just means the legal society, the squires, the Crown. You're not going against man on man. So that's when you can invoke common law. And that's the only thing that protects man's liberties is the common law. So I put that plaque on my website. So somebody finally said, hey, you finally put something different on your website. It doesn't just say word of the month anymore. Now it actually has a different picture on the front page. It says that's at broadmind.org. So whenever you see a judge, you guys could just copy that picture and put it in as an exhibit. If a judge gives you any crap, or the state gives you any crap, or your attorney gives you any crap, say, oh, there's no common law anymore. Oh, really? Then how come the Bar Association recognizes the common law as the way of preserving an individual's rights against the bar? Why does the bar recognize that fact, that we do have common law in this land? And then the other thing I was going to put on my website was that letter that Larry was talking about. I was just going to highlight it in yellow where it says, we're going to have to deny this motion at this time because, yes, there might be many legal conclusions here, and yes, they're making very many legal presumptions, and but since we do not see that they are registered anywhere with the bar within the state of Ohio, we are going to have to deny their motion at this time. Now, you better give me a damn good reason why you deny my motion. You better say, well, no, Jones versus Bob in 2013 trumps the 2011 case law that you just cited. Or like a Carl Miller, the 1902 stuff. Well, you cited 1902, somebody cited something from 1903. So that's why we're going to have to deny your motion at this time. No, they just said, you know what, we're going to have to deny your motion at this time because we looked and we cannot find that you're a member of the Bar Association. That's ridiculous. Don't deny my motion because I'm not a member of the bar. Deny my motion based upon the merits or the lack of merits. Don't deny it because I don't got a union card. Don't tell me my work sucks. Well, your work's great. That's great work. The only problem is you don't have a union card, so we don't really give a damn how well you can lay a brick or how well you can weld steel together. I'll give you the best welder in the world. You're not working on this job site. You are not coming into this court, and you're not going to operate in this courtroom. It is not going to happen. So it's like, well, then how do I access a public courtroom? Make your own damn claim. Bring your own damn court in. Summons the other side to appear. While you're there, they're there. Oh, this is great. It saves courts times, resources, and everybody, all the parties are here in attendance at the same time. Lovely. And that's what the prosecutor, the barrister, asked me in England. He says, how the hell did you beat me in Crown Court? He says, in the history of England, this has never happened. I said, did you see the claim that I put on top of your criminal complaint at the beginning of the trial? He said, yeah, like your ridiculous 8-word nonsense. I said, yeah. I said, what you should have done is that I didn't serve it upon you in a timely manner, and then you needed 21 days before you can answer that claim. That's what you should have done. But you didn't, because you thought that eight words were a joke. Thank God that judge didn't think it was a joke. Thank God the judge understood that my claim trumped your complaint. I could actually have a bona fide proof of a claim. I could have a man come testify and swear it's true. Your complaint, no man's ever going to appear. That any of those charges that you alleged against these people are true. You could just show them where Bob versus Jones in 2000 or Susie versus Crown in 2005, where that was ruled. Big deal. Can you bring anything from a man that says what they've done today in 2013 is true? No, that's not going to happen. You're going to base it upon Crown versus Joe or Crown versus Susie. Yes, there were cases that appeared in the past that were similar, but they're not identical. So since they're not identical parties, obviously you can have a different outcome. Like I said, because they're not the same parties. They're not the same. They're not the same. Even like I said, every party is the same. Every case is the same, and every case is unique. Every case is the same because you're going to have a defendant and a prosecutor, a wrongdoer and a plaintiff and a respondent. You're going to have two parties. Every case is identical like that. You're going to have a matter in controversy between a minimum of two parties. Every case is the same. But every case is different because the same two parties don't always appear. The situation is different, the time, the place, the location, circumstances are different, mitigating circumstances, facts are different. So every case is unique. Every case is the same, but every case is unique. And the United States Supreme Court judge just used that line like a month or two ago. I was like, hey, somebody's listening to my show. That every case is the same, and every case is the same, but every case is unique. It's really simple stuff. Like I said, and this is all credit and commerce spiel. So like I said, as soon as I said, wait a second, it's credit and commerce spiel, he disappeared. Because that's exactly what it is. Like, holy cow, here we go. So what are you going to do? You're going to pay off the charges with a site draft? Is that where we're going next? And everybody's going to wind up in jail for a site draft. It just means that it's like a check to pay on site, pay upon demand. There's an account that exists out there, and what are you going to teach people? That the account is their birth certificate number, the red number on the back, that's the account number? Or are you going to teach people that their account number is their Social Security number, so to draw a check, draw a site draft off that Social Security number or that birth certificate like the credits and commerce people used to do? Oh, yeah, use that certification number on the back of your birth certificate. That's your routing number. That's the account number. So just write out a check. That's that crazy tugboat captain wrote out a $2 million site draft check to the court. And he said to the court, like, keep the change. And the judge just smiled and laughed and said, is this thing real? Because I talked to the wife, 2-3 days after the guy went to court. He said, yeah. He's like, yeah, the judge just said, is this thing real? And he laughed. He's like, okay, if it's real, you know what? The county's satisfied. They say $2 million. Yeah, we'll definitely let you get away with kiddie porn on your computer for $2 million. Yeah, that works for us. Have a nice day. We're going to check this thing out. If it's legit, we'll see where we'll go from there. But have a nice day. And then 2 days later, the sheriff's department knocked on his front door, and his wife told me he ran out the back door. And then she called me up. He says, what do I tell him? I said, tell him you're listening to some crazy guy named Gordon Hall and put all the blame on him and just say you have no effing clue what you're doing and beg for mercy and just say, look, can you actually give me a legitimate, debt that I owe to society? Can you actually, because like I said, the word guilt is a German word that just means debt. It's the same word. Debt, guilt in German is the same word. So it's like, okay, what do you say? I'm guilty of kiddie porn? That's fine. What debt do I owe? What member of society, which man or woman from society is going to come forward and make a claim that I had kiddie porn on my computer causing them harm, injury, or loss? Is that person going to appear? Is that man or woman going to appear? No, well then honestly, I don't owe a debt to society. I don't owe a debt to anybody. I'm not guilty of anything. Guilty means do I owe a debt. Do I owe a debt to anybody? No. Well then, let me be. Now, if you want to try to say, well, are you a resident of North Carolina? You citizen of North Carolina. And he says something stupid like, yes. Well, then he owes a debt to the people because he ascribed himself. He became a member of that family. He became a citizen because citizen means a member of a family. So since he decided to become part of my family, part of my organization, part of the Boy Scouts, part of the legal society, part of the Kiwanis Club, if he breached one of our bylaws or our codes or violated our practice policies or procedures, yes. If he still wants to be a citizen, if he still wants to be an active member within our society, he has to pay. We may impose upon him. A fine, a penalty, imprisonment, because he didn't tell us that we couldn't. He still wants to be a member of this club. He still wants to be a citizen. You could just say, you know what, being a citizen doesn't, I don't see any benefit at this time, so you know what, I'm going to have to respectfully decline accepting those charges. Who's bringing the charges against me? The county. I'm not a county resident at this time. I'm not a citizen of this county. No, I'm sorry. No, I'm not a citizen of the state. No. And like I always say to people all the time, when it says United States citizens, under, like, say, the 14th Amendment, I say to people, can you people show me a United States birth certificate, because I've never seen a United States birth certificate. I've seen New York State birth certificates, and I've seen California State birth certificates, and I've seen birth certificates from New Hampshire, but I have never, to this day, seen a United States birth certificate. So when people say, you're a citizen of the United States, it's like, no, I believe I'm a citizen of New York. I believe I'm a member of their family. I believe I have a birth certificate that says New York on it. I don't have a birth certificate that says United States. So when this guy keeps saying, oh, you got a birth certificate and, you're a citizen of the United States, it's like, a birth certificate has to do with the state that I'm from, the land that I'm from. I'm from the land of New York. And like when Dean Clifford used to say, get rid of birth certificates in Canada, I said, Dean, do you realize what you just said? If you revoke or rescind the birth certificate, you understand that you can't, technically own land in Canada. Just like in Mexico. Well, now, I could go down to Mexico and buy land, but for almost my whole entire life, if I wanted to buy land in Mexico, the only thing I could do is lease the land. I could not buy the land because I am not from the land. I am not one with the land because land means people. It's just like, say Canada. If the Canadian land is incredibly cheap, how would they like it if a billion Chinese came over to Canada and bought all their land for $1 an acre, and they got billions of Chinese now living in Canada? Or maybe they don't actually physically move to Canada, they just buy the land and take all the timber off and ship it over to China. They can't do that. They can't own the land. They could lease the land, but they can't own the land. And then when they lease something, like you lease a car, you can't give it a paint job. You can't take the doors off. You can't sell the windshield. You can't sell the trees. You can't buy the coal. You can't take the coal out of the ground. You're leasing it. So you can put all kinds of options of how that, when the lease is done, what must be retained on that land. Like you're renting. You're like a tenant. You can't alter the property. I said, but they said that's why it's great value to have a birth certificate from the state of New York. Because technically, or like from say Canada, like if you're from Canada, to have a birth certificate proves that you are from this land. So if you are from this land, you could pull from this land because your mom and dad pulled from the land for their food and their sustenance and their nutrition. They pulled from the land. By taking from the land, they created you. Your mom just didn't breathe air. Your mom didn't just get stardust falling on her. Your mom didn't just get, food from Mars. She got food from the land and where she lived. So technically, you are and the land are the same. You were created just like they could say in the Bible. God created Adam from clay. He pulled man from the land, from the humus. He pulled and he breathed life into him. Right, we get everything from the land. We are land. And then when people are like, oh, that's gross, or that's silly call, it's like I would say to them, oh yeah, guess what? When you die, guess where you're going to go? When you hit that ground, guess where you're going to go? You're going to go right back into the land. How much simpler can I make it? It's like you can't believe you're from the land, but you certainly believe that you're going to go back into the land, right? That you believe. Well, yeah, that I believe. You're not going to escape Earth's atmosphere. You're not going to defy gravity. You're not going to, wind up on the moon somewhere, are you? No, you're going to fall right back into the land where you came from. You're going to be recycled right back where you started from. Like, oh, okay, land, people, the same. I see it now, and I see the circle. That's right. That's why banks can't own land. Banks can't own people. A fiction can't own people. That's why you got a title, and that's why you got a deed to the land. You got two separate. The title is the second dimensions. There's titles and there's birth certificates. There's a certificate of titles. That's all second dimension nonsense. They can't actually control the people. They can't bind the people, and they can't own the land. They can't do anything to the land. It's just a certificate. It's just a title. It's a piece of paper. There's no way in the world a piece of paper can dig up land. There's no way in the world a piece of paper can control land. There's no way a piece of paper can control man. It's ridiculous. That's why you got a Judeo-Christian land. This is wonderful. You got split. It's split. One is based on code, and one is based on, what was the situation at the time? Just turn the other cheek and let it go. It was like, what? Oh, but he did this, this, and this to your family? You know what? Okay. Tear the guy apart. Rip him in half. Protect society. So it's great that we have two ways of looking at things. It depends on the situation.
Hey, Karl, let me ask you something. Someone just asked, how could you handle a case with the court if you're in jail?
It depends, man. Like I said, are you talking about prior to arraignment? I mean, just when you first got arrested, or you mean after sentencing and you've been convicted by a trial by jury, and because jail, usually you go to jail if it's less than like 1 year prison. Because if it's a serious charge, a serious crime that you've been convicted of, you go to prison. So jail is usually where you get picked up off the street, they process you, and they put you in a local county jail. When you actually get convicted, they usually ship you off to prison. So if he says, how do you get out of jail, or how do you deal with court when you're in jail, that's prior to an arraignment, prior to the trial. Because people who get convicted after the trial don't go to jail unless it's something silly like jaywalking or, less than 1 year kind of thing. But if it's more than 1 year, 2 years, you're going to go off to the big prison. So I think you wanted to say, how do you deal with it when you're in prison?
Okay.
When you've been convicted of a serious crime and you're sitting in prison now.
Okay, well, they didn't really specify, so I guess you're right on addressing it either way. So, but I would think if you want to expound on either way, whether you're in jail or how would you expound to going to court, or if you want to expound if you are in prison.
Like say, look at Dean Clifford. Look at Dean Clifford. He's in jail, right? He's waiting for trial. He's waiting to come to trial. So the only thing he could do is put massive amount of notices into the court and file his own claim and have his case going at the same time he appears in Crown's case. That's what he could do while he's in jail, waiting for the trial. Once he's already had his trial, if you had a trial by a judge and he said, well, I had the right to be afforded a trial by jury, then he could obviously say, you know what, I want their case against me to be reopened and I want a trial by jury. But like I said, if they're already sitting in prison, it's because they were sloppy and lazy, and at the time that the Crown's case or the government's case was going against them, they didn't bother to say, hey, you know what? I bet the United States, I bet the IRS is never going to freaking appear. Like Aaron Schiff could have done it. Hey, you know what? I bet the IRS is never going to appear. I bet the IRS is never going to swear on a stack of Bibles and testify that anything that they're saying is true, that any of their agents are saying is true. Not a single freaking one of them. So he just played in their case, and obviously their case is just like when you got that letter. It's like, yeah, you know what, that's fine, all the legal conclusions and everything are lovely, but Erwin, yeah, thank you for having this 3-year trial, but you know what, everything that you said, we don't see that you're a code deciphering officer. We don't see that you have any master's degrees in this. We don't see there's any, you're registered as a code decipherer. We don't see that you're registered anywhere in the state of Nevada as having a bar card, a member of the legal society. So everything that you said for the last 2 years, we're going to have to deny. And you're like, holy shit. And just like the letter you sent me, it's like, that's incredible that they actually sent a letter like that, flat out saying, based upon the merits or the lack of it, or lack of the, legal conclusions, or that you didn't follow proper procedure and you didn't, stylize the paper in a proper manner, we're going to have to deny you at this time. No, they said, okay, you made, great legal conclusions, great legal procedure. You did everything according to our rules, but you know what? We're going to have to deny you because, you know what, we don't see that you're a bar card carrying member. So, you know what, we're going to have to deny you at this time. That's just cruel. So if you realize, it's like I say to people all the time, if the government is, if I'm taking the government into the court, if it's me against the fiction, I'm gonna clobber the poor fiction because the fiction will never appear. The fiction can't show up. So like I said, when the Crown brought, the Punjabis, their stack of paperwork was a mountain. You should have seen the mountain of paperwork the Crown had against these people. It was like 10 inches tall. The folder was ridiculous, the folders that they brought in. Mine was 8 words. And that was it, one piece of paper with 8 words on it. Theirs was a mountain. Why? Because they're moving a complaint. I'm not moving a complaint. They need legal case law, precedent, citations, codes. They need statutes. They need everything to support their complaint. I need a couple of words. Where's the plaintiff? Where's the victim? I agree. I'm guilty. I'm guilty of whatever. I'm guilty of anything you wish that I'm saying. It's like I said, guilty means debt in German. It's the same word. That's fine. I owe any debt. If any man comes to this courtroom, I am in debt to him. If he comes on the stand and he testifies that it's true. Just have any man on planet Earth testify that I owe a debt. And that's what he said, the same words like I said with guilty. Fine. Do I owe a debt? Fine. Am I guilty? Fine. I'm guilty. Fine. I owe debts. Fine. Who's the man who's making a claim I owe a debt? Fine. Who's the man who's making a claim I'm guilty? If that man appears and says I owe the debt, show me the debt. I'll say, oh, yeah, you know what? I do. This man comes and appears and says I'm guilty of doing something wrong. Let me say, oh, yeah, you're right, I did. Okay. And I'll compensate. But until that day, I'm not, you could say I'm guilty, but where is the actual plaintiff? Where is the person who's actually accusing me? Are you accusing me? Well, no, I'm not accusing you. The people are. The Crown is. And that's what we said, man. It's the best case that ever we say is that Al Gore versus George Bush. And that the Supreme Court ran through that case in about 3 minutes and 2 seconds. They said, yeah, great. You got a tractor-trailer load of hanging chaired ballots there, Al. Yeah, we see you got this courtroom full with the most expensive law firms in the United States of America. We see you got 316 lawyers here. Yeah, okay, you're really impressing us, Al. The only problem is, Al, you're saying that these hanging chairs, these ballots things, that they weren't counted. Do you have one single man from Florida that's going to testify that any one of those ballots are his and that his right to vote was not counted? And I was like, well, no. We didn't bring any man who's going to swear that he did not have the right to vote. Well, if he didn't have the right to vote, if you didn't bring a man here, I don't care how much paperwork you have. I don't care how many attorneys you have. You're going to have to take it back to Florida and deal with Florida because we have absolutely the rules in the United States Supreme Court are simple. You need to have a man appear. And do you have a man that's going to appear with you, Al? No. Is any man going to claim that they've been harmed or injured because their vote wasn't counted? No. But there's millions of black people that didn't have their votes counted. Like, Al, baby, we believe you. Al, chill, dude, we agree. But you're still going to have to bring the body here. You're going to have to bring one man. Did you find just one, like, homeless guy wandering around Miami somewhere and say, hey, you know what, my vote wasn't counted? Did you bring one guy up here to swear before us that his vote wasn't counted? Well, no. Well, Al, you don't have a case. So, you know what? We're going to have to deny, you're going to have to dismiss this and, you know what, take it back down to Florida and let them slug it out. I mean, that's the fastest the United States Supreme Court, like, probably ever ruled on a case. It was like lightning. You got the man. No man. Can't help you. Same thing I say to court. You got a man over there. You got a person. You got one of the people of the state. No. You got a case. As soon as you get a people, as soon as you get a man, as soon as you get a person here to testify and swear that I owe the debt, that I'm guilty, that's fine. No problem. That I'm guilty and owe a debt or debt and got it guilty, that's fine. Not a problem. I'll compensate. I'll make it up to him. Well, that's fine. But until that day, dismiss this. Dismissed means that you could bring it up against me for the rest of my life. Bring it up against my great-grandchildren. I don't care. But dismiss it. Let me go for now. You could just let that charge hang out there somewhere. That's okay. But I'm telling you, whoever summons me to appear again, you better prove your case. Because you summons me to appear next time, this time you got it for free. Next time I'm going to require you to pay me $10,000 to appear. Because I ain't got time to play this game. So like I said, if people just know the simple words like guilty means debt. Are you guilty or not guilty? Do you owe a debt or don't you owe a debt? Okay, who's making the claim? Do I owe a debt to society? Is that what you're saying? Then where's the bill? I have not intended the bill. And everybody knows that everybody who listens to these shows, everybody knows that, this is all based on commerce. This is all commercial. All courts are commercial courts. That's right. It's all based on a debt. One man owes a debt to another man. One man has done another man wrong. And he owes him compensation. He has to compensate him for the wrong.
Do you want to take a question real quick, Carl?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oregon, I unmuted you. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I sure do. I was just waiting quietly here in the wings, enjoying the monologue. Hey, Carl. This is Rich in Oregon. And you have said before, and I just want to, first of all, give this preface that I am entirely sincere, not laying back and trying to trap you or anything. You said something just a few minutes ago that reminded me. You said something about, well, I'm not a citizen today or something like that. Is it true that you comfortably, happily, at need and at will move in and out of, quote, the system and, use it as appropriate and then say, well, I'm a man when it's appropriate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I say, if you know the old myths and legends, the gods used to come down from Olympia, and they would take on different forms. And they would take on different forms in intercourse with the females down here, or with men, and they would breed like somebody like a Hercules or something like that.
Right.
So then you get right. So like I said, they would transform themselves, their status and their positions, at a certain time when it benefited them. They saw a nice looking broad. They say, hey, you know what? We're coming down to earth, and we're going to take a godly, and we're going to transform ourselves into a man or a bull or a cow or horse or whatever they did. And then when they no longer felt that it was a benefit, they went back to their status and position out of Zeus as a god.
Right. Leda and the swan. Zeus was the swan.
Yeah, Don became as a bull. Yeah. He came. A man is not limited in his capacity in how he may appear, and how he may believe that he exists.
Right.
I'm unlimited in my capacity. I can be whatever the hell I say.
Right. Where I'm going with this is this. Now, I appreciate your candor and, as usual, your straight, simple answer. I'm not coming from a place where I see myself, as I did a few years ago, going full-time and being a Gus or a Larry or you or whoever. Well, and I don't have the skills to get under a car and fix it, so I wouldn't be doing that. But in any case, I'm going to be working in society and probably, at some point giving somebody the old social, which I used to stay away from doing, and I lost jobs because I wouldn't do it and all that. What I'm getting from you is a whole breath of fresh air that's like somebody brings to me and says, oh, wait a minute, you say you're not a citizen of whatever, you're not this or that, but I've got this paper here which says it's to my rejoinder would be, oh, wait a minute. The entity who gave you that number, that, Richard blah, 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 in all capital letters, well, yeah, that person is a person. That's a citizen, and maybe even a U.S. citizen. What's that got to do with me? I'm a man. And to lawfully and honestly, I won't say disclaim so much as just distinguish between the two. Are we on the same page?
Yeah, kind of. But like I said, that's what's great. I used to have that on the website for the longest time, the actual code under the Social Security Act, where it said that if you do not wish to place a Social Security number on an application and you're denied a job based upon the fact that you refuse or you do not have a Social Security card, you could act, it's actually a criminal act on the part of the employer for not hiring you based upon the lack of a Social Security number. That's actually criminal. You could actually sue them because they didn't hire you but you'd have to try to trap them into saying, are you telling me that you're not going to hire me because I'm not putting a Social Security number in here or that I don't have one? If they say, well, yeah, hopefully you got that on video or you brought a priest with you who could testify that that's exactly what they said, or the employee is stupid enough to say that in open court. Saying, yeah, well, that's why we didn't hire him. We didn't hire him because he said he didn't have a Social Security number. That's actually criminal.
Okay. I was not aware of the criminal aspect, but unless it's changed, a few years back, 10 or so, there was a $5,000 fine. And so obviously that's civil, if you will. But still, that's going to bite.
Yeah.
That's going to hurt. And I use
you
that.
could sue them civilly, right. You could sue them civilly, and the government could go after them criminally. Right, you can't go after them criminally. The government goes after them criminally. You go after them civilly.
Sure. Well, but I would have to be the one to make the complaint. I'd have to go to the government, and say, hey, this guy, denied me the job, blah, 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 and then the police or whoever would go after them criminally.
Right, whatever government entity would, who charge us and would say, you're in violation of this code, da-da-da-da-da. What are you going to do about it? We're going to have, this is your first offense, second offense, They're going to impose
having gone toe-to-toe with a corporation about 8 years ago and worked there for just a month, I said, I'm not giving you a social, it's whatever reason I gave. And they talked to their lawyers or whatever they did for a whole month. They didn't pay me a dime. At the end of that month, they said, hey, you know what? See ya. Here's all your money. They didn't withhold anything, but we don't want you working here. So that was not the resolution that I was hoping for.
When we say it was funny, when people used to, when I had applications that said Social Security number, I'd put a Social Security number down. You know exactly where I'm going.
Well, I can imagine you could do an Irwin ship, all zeros, or you could do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
There you go.
Or you could put down...
I saw the application, said Social Security number. Whatever the thing just said number. It didn't say Social Security number, just said number. I'd say, lucky number 7, or number 13, lucky 13. They just said Social Security number.
Yeah, that's where I thought you were going. Yeah, right, exactly.
Social Security number. You want a Social Security number? Okay, 126723679. Oh, you should have seen I did that one time, and somebody actually typed that number in, and they said, "Is your name Akdet Dinajad Barbadis?" And I said, "Yes." But you understand, it was very hard for me to get a job with that name like that, so I shortened it to Karl Lentz. And they're like, "Oh, okay, now that makes sense." It was ridiculous, the name they pulled out. The Social Security number I put in there. And all I honestly did was change the last 2 numbers of my Social Security from 86 to 68. And it came up with this crazy name. It came up with this crazy Akmupu Dinajab Upatabi Pakistan, whatever. Some crazy name. It's like, holy cow, that somebody was born that close to me and their parents gave him such a ridiculous name.
You sure it wasn't Barack Obama?
Yeah, it just made me laugh that that was such a crazy name that, when they actually ran it. And they said, and they actually believed me. I said, now, if your parents, if you had a name like that, wouldn't you change it to something simple like Karl Lentz? And they're like, yeah, that makes sense. They didn't ask to see, can I see the legal transfer of the name? They didn't ask me that. So I just ran with it. Said, you know what? Yeah, I mean, can you imagine having a name like that?
No.
Yeah. So it's funny, is this guy, Akhtul Majinjo, when he's hit 65 or 70, boy, he's going to get a lot of Social Security benefits that he knows he's entitled to.
All right, let's wrap it up, gentlemen.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Angela.
Because, like, again, when somebody says to me, give me a Social Security number, I didn't create the Social Security number. It's not my number to give out. It's not mine.
Right.
I didn't create it. I can't give it away. It's not mine. You want my Social Security number? I didn't make one yet.